Assessment for RIS 28 means a written review of information collected from observation and interaction with the resident, including the resident's record and any other relevant source of information, the analysis of the information, and recommendation for modification of the resident's care if warranted. The assessment must contain the signature and credential initials of the person who conducted the assessment. And then nursing progress notes or progress reports is a written record of nursing services other than the medication administration or taking the vital signs. We're not talking about if you're posting the assistance with medication and medication administration in your medication observation record or your EMR. This is different. We're talking about for those nursing notes that you're really providing nursing services for. Pill organizer means a container as designed to hold solid doses of medication. This definition was put in there in May 10th, 2018. However, we know that the only people that use a pill organizer are those individual residents in your building that self-administer their medication. Self-administer their medication. The exception of a pill organizer used by other residents is when they leave your building on vacation. Those are options. There's 4 options that you can take to let their medications go with them. And then one of them is using a pill organizer. It gives us a definition of staff, and I will let you read that on your own. Third party means any individual or business entity providing services to a resident to a facility that is not staff of the facility. So if you're not staff and you coming in your building, someone is providing services, they're considered a third party. A third party. Okay? Any questions about definitions? Any question about anything we've gone over this morning?
Ms. Granger, this is Tiara. I have a question in regards to memory care, because I didn't see a definition in the like what we went over for memory care. Is that similar to the limited mental health license?
No, memory care is not. Memory care, you have your residents in there with dementia of some sort, and that's totally different from a mental health. That they're not the same. And the reason there you don't see memory care in here is because that's something the industry have named that to be. What you have is residents that have some form of dementia or Alzheimer's or some other related dementia, just like you have in your facility somebody with cancer or diabetes or high blood pressure. Their diagnosis is different, but you in the industry have categorized that as I got a memory care unit or a secure unit, which is nothing wrong with that, because you just feel better that you can care for them in that unit because they do have some form of dementia. But it's whatever we've gone over, a Tiara, is the same law for them as your general population. There's nothing different. We'll get to the differences of the training component if you're going to hold yourself out that you provide and carry service with residents with Alzheimer's or dementia. But if I just open my ALF and someone come to me and I assess them and they have some form of dementia, I can very well keep them in my general population as well.
Okay, and then I know some memory cares or most memory cares have like secure or locked units, and so essentially these like that is okay under these statutes. Like
yeah, you got a secured area, but listen, when you have locked units, you need to post it. They need to know how to get out. I don't call them locked unit. I might say secure unit, because you can't lock no resident in regardless if they got Alzheimer's, bipolar, or whatever. They need to be able to come in and out if they choose to.
I see. Okay, thank you.
And go about your facility. So
Right.
while we don't expect them to come out of your secure unit, but some of them, they have memory issues, they have dementia, but they're not stupid either. They can sit there and they go by the sound of the button, dum, 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 and they'll go right behind you and go dum, 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 and walk right out. So it's good to have memory care units that they exit either into a courtyard or back into the main halls of the community or the building.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Ms. Granger, I had a question about nurses at an ALF. Is it required that you have a nurse on staff at an ALF?
It is required only in limited nursing services license or an ECC license that you have a nurse available. That's the terminology. Available to provide the nursing services that your residents need.
Oh,
You're not required to have nurses 24 hours a day
it's available.
under any license. But a lot of facilities do have nurses because it start off as a good marketing strategy and for competition. Because it's people like to hear, oh, I got a nurse on staff 24 hours. Okay, that's good for the ear, but you don't have to have them.
Gotta have them available. I understand.
For those two licenses, you don't even have to have a nurse available for a standard license or a limited mental health license. The only time you need a nurse, it provided two nursing services, and we'll go over that too. On a standard license is for colostomy care and portable oxygen. If you do those services in a standard license, you must have a nurse on staff or on contract. But if you don't do those under your standard license, you don't need a nurse. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions? Very good questions. Okay. The purpose of an ALF, and we can find that in 429 if you want to know where this is, but it's to promote the availability and services for elderly persons and adults with disabilities in the least restricted and most home-like environment. So we know our ALF need to be not overly regulated. We know this is their home, and so the whole physical and atmosphere of your ALF should be a home-like environment. ALF should be regulated as residential environments with supportive services and not as nursing facilities. See, the lawmakers are telling us, and it's not only telling us, it's telling the fire marshal, it's telling the health department that when you go in and do your inspections, you inspect them as residential facilities. Because I can guarantee you, if you were inspected as a medical facility, probably 1/3 of the facilities wouldn't pass. So they already know that you're a residential model. That's what you are and who you are. And yes, we do bring supportive services into our ALF. If our residents need physical therapy or OT or whatever, you can bring those in, service those in, but you yourself, your facility can't provide them. You're not a nursing facility. Also, it goes on and say, promote the dignity, individuality, privacy, and decision-making abilities of persons living in their ALF. So we have to promote this. We don't take it away from them. They're individuals. They have privacy. They are adults. Call them by their name. Respect them. We want to promote dignity in our ALF and not to degrade our residents in any kind of way. Provide for the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. So when they come there, we know we need to take care of them. Services available should be intended to help residents remain as independent as possible. You should never, because you're impatient. If Ms. Skittles is picking up her glass and ever so slowly she picks it up and she brings it to her mouth, you don't snatch it away and say, oh, let me do it. What you're doing now is messing with her brain. And you do that a couple of times, and her brain will say, I don't even have to try to drink water because I know staff is going to snatch it away. And you take away the things that she or he could do because you're impatient. And all that's doing in the long run, now you get mad because they can't do a lot of things. Well, because you took it away from them. And their brain said, well, I don't have to do that. And not only that, regulations, these regulations that you have in front of you, governs ALF must be sufficiently flexible to allow facilities to adopt policies that enable residents to age in place. So all 11 of you in this class, your all 11 ALFs could be operated differently, and you may have different policies, but at the end of the day, you still need to comply with the regulations. How you come around and comply with them may be different from the others, but at the end of the day, everybody needs to comply with the regulation. Your forms, the forms that you use, don't have to be just like the forms of other facility. You may create your forms that you use for your resident totally different, as long as it makes sense to you and makes sense to the surveyor. Okay. The only forms that you can't not change is that healthcare assessment form because it's promulgated by rule, adverse incident forms because they're promulgated by rule. But all these other forms can be different.